You ever notice how when things finally calm down in your life, when the crisis passes and the drama dies down, there's this weird feeling that creeps in? It's not relief, it's not gratitude, it's almost like boredom, like something's missing. You worked so hard to get here, to find peace, to create some stability in your life. But now that you have it, now that you're not constantly putting out fires or dealing with chaos, there's this strange emptiness, this quiet that feels too quiet, this stillness that makes you restless. And then you start to panic a little. You think, is this it? Is this what I wanted? Why does peace feel so flat? So you find yourself creating little dramas, picking small fights, stirring up excitement just to feel something again. Or you start scrolling mindlessly, looking for stimulation, for something to fill this space that you worked so hard to create. Here's what nobody tells you about peace. It can feel boring because you've been living in survival mode for so long that anything else feels foreign. Your nervous system has been trained to expect chaos, to stay alert, to always be ready for the next crisis. So when peace finally shows up, your body doesn't know what to do with it. Let's be honest about something. Chaos is addictive. Drama is addictive. The adrenaline rush of crisis, the intensity of conflict, the high stakes of constant stress, your body gets used to it. It becomes your normal. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself in the same patterns, the same relationship dynamics, the same work stress, the same family drama? It's not because you're drawn to suffering. It's because familiar chaos feels safer than unfamiliar peace. Your nervous system has been running on high alert for so long that it's become your baseline. You've been living in fight or flight mode so consistently that calm feels dangerous. Your brain interprets peace as a threat because it's not what you're used to. And here's the kicker. We live in a world that rewards chaos. We celebrate the hustle, the grind, the constant motion. We tell stories about overcoming crisis, about rising from the ashes, about thriving under pressure. But nobody talks about the skill of being at peace. Nobody teaches you how to be okay when everything is okay. We've created a world that's designed to overstimulate us. Your phone buzzes every few minutes. Your feed is constantly updating. There's always something new to worry about, to be outraged by, to fix. You're consuming content that's designed to trigger your stress response, to keep you engaged, to keep you coming back for more. So when you finally step away from all that, when you create space for actual peace, it feels empty by comparison. It's like your stimulation tolerance has been cranked up so high that anything below a certain intensity feels like nothing at all. You've been living on the emotional equivalent of fast food, quick hits of intensity, drama, crisis, excitement. And now you're trying to appreciate the emotional equivalent of a home-cooked meal, quiet, nourishing, sustainable. But your palate has been so overwhelmed by artificial intensity that real peace tastes bland. This is why meditation can feel boring at first, why nature can feel slow, why simple pleasures can feel insufficient. You've been training your nervous system to expect constant input, constant stimulation, constant something. So when you're asked to just be, to just sit, to just exist in the present moment without entertainment, it feels like deprivation. But here's what's really happening when peace feels boring. You're afraid of what you might discover in the stillness. You're afraid of what thoughts might surface when you're not distracted. You're afraid of what emotions might rise when you're not numbing them with activity. Because when you're always busy, always stimulated, always dealing with something, you don't have to face yourself. You don't have to sit with your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own existence. The chaos becomes a convenient way to avoid intimacy with yourself. Peace feels boring because it forces you to confront the fact that you might not know who you are when you're not reacting to something. You might not know what you enjoy when you're not solving a problem. You might not know what you want when you're not fighting for something. There's a vulnerability in peace that chaos doesn't require. When you're in crisis mode, you know your role. You're the problem solver, the fighter, the survivor. But when you're at peace, you have to figure out who you are when you're not performing, when you're not defending, when you're not struggling. Real peace isn't empty, it's full. It's not the absence of everything, it's the presence of something deeper. But you have to develop the capacity to perceive it. You have to train yourself to appreciate subtlety after years of only noticing extremes. Think about it like this. If you've been listening to music at maximum volume for years, when someone plays something beautiful and soft, you can't hear it. Your ears haven't adjusted. You need to slowly turn down the volume of your life to hear the quiet music that's always been playing. Peace has texture, depth, richness, but only if you develop the sensitivity to perceive it. There's a whole world of subtle sensation, quiet joy, gentle aliveness that exists in the spaces between the chaos. But you have to learn how to tune into it. When you're at peace, you're not bored, you're available. You're available to notice things you missed when you were stressed. You're available to feel things you couldn't access when you were overwhelmed. You're available to yourself in a way that crisis never allows. Learning to find peace interesting is essentially learning to recalibrate your nervous system. It's like adjusting your eyes after being in bright light. You need time to see what's actually there in the dim room. Start small. Instead of immediately reaching for your phone when you feel bored, sit with the boredom for a few minutes. Notice what it feels like in your body. Where do you feel it? What does it want from you? What is it trying to tell you? Begin to distinguish between boredom and peace. Boredom is often anxiety in disguise. It's the feeling of, I should be doing something, or something is wrong if I'm not busy. Peace, on the other hand, is the feeling of, I'm okay exactly as I am right now. Practice finding stimulation in smaller things. Notice the way light moves across your wall. Listen to the sounds outside your window. Feel the texture of your clothing, the temperature of the air, the rhythm of your own breathing. These aren't boring, they're just subtle. And subtlety is a skill you can develop. When you slow down enough to actually be present, you discover that this moment, this ordinary, unremarkable moment, is actually extraordinary. There's so much happening right now that you miss when you're always looking for the next thing. Your heart is beating, your lungs are breathing, your mind is thinking, your body is feeling. There's a whole universe of activity happening within you that you completely overlook when you're addicted to external stimulation. And when you start to notice this internal richness, peace stops feeling empty. It starts feeling full. Not overwhelming full, but satisfyingly full. Like a deep well that you never knew was there. You start to realize that you don't need chaos to feel alive. You don't need drama to feel engaged. You don't need crisis to feel important. You can feel all of these things in the simple act of being present to your own existence. Your mind has been trained to solve problems, to scan for threats, to stay busy. When there are no problems to solve, it starts creating them. When there are no threats to scan for, it starts imagining them. When there's nothing to do, it starts making up things that need to be done. This is why peace can feel so uncomfortable. Your mind doesn't know how to be unemployed. It's been working overtime for so long that early retirement feels like death. So it starts whispering things like, this is boring, you're wasting time, you should be doing something productive. But here's the thing, your mind is not you. Your mind is a tool, and like any tool, it needs to be put down sometimes. You don't need to be thinking, analyzing, planning, or solving every moment of your life. Sometimes you can just be. Learning to be at peace is learning to be okay with your mind being quiet. It's learning to exist without commentary, without agenda, without the constant narrative of what you should be doing or where you should be going. There's an art to doing nothing, a skill to being unproductive, a practice to being present without purpose. But we've lost this art in our culture of constant optimization, constant improvement, constant hustle. Start practicing the art of doing nothing. Sit in your yard and watch the clouds. Lie on your floor and listen to music. Take a bath without bringing your phone. Eat a meal without multitasking. Have a conversation without planning what you're going to say next. Notice how this feels. Notice the urge to do something, to be productive, to optimize this time. And then notice what happens when you resist that urge. What do you discover in the space that opens up? You might discover that you're more creative when you're not trying to be creative. You might discover that you're more peaceful when you're not trying to find peace. You might discover that you're more yourself when you're not trying to be anything at all. Peace isn't the absence of aliveness. It's aliveness without the noise. It's your essential self without all the additions. It's who you are when you're not performing, reacting, or defending. When you learn to find peace interesting, you're not becoming passive or complacent. You're becoming more sensitive to the subtle currents of life that run beneath the surface drama. You're learning to find nourishment in smaller portions, to find excitement in gentler experiences. You start to realize that the most profound experiences often happen in the quietest moments. The deepest insights come not from thinking harder, but from thinking less. The most genuine connections happen not in the drama, but in the spaces between the words. So if peace feels boring to you, it's not because there's something wrong with peace. It's because you've been overstimulated for so long that you've forgotten how to appreciate subtlety. You've been living on emotional junk food for so long that real nourishment tastes bland. But you can recalibrate. You can learn to find richness in simplicity, depth in stillness, aliveness in peace. It's not about becoming passive, it's about becoming present. It's not about giving up excitement, it's about finding it in places you never thought to look. The next time peace feels boring, instead of immediately reaching for stimulation, try staying with it for just a few minutes longer. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to teach me? What would I discover if I didn't run from this stillness? If this shifted something for you, if you felt your nervous system slow down even just a bit while listening, comment below with the word still, because that's where your power lives. And subscribe for more content that helps you remember that you don't need chaos to feel alive. If you're someone who struggles with overthinking and wants practical tools to quiet your mind, I've created the Overthinking Fix. You can find it in the description below. It goes deeper into the patterns we talked about today. The peace you're seeking is already here, waiting for you to develop the eyes to see it.